Hey guys, welcome back to Sensei's Journey. I'm out here in my backyard with my good friend Log and Rock. And we're going to talk about lifting some awkward objects. Specifically today we're going to talk about stone lifting. And you will see some of, in some of the real anime training workouts, there's a prescription for stone lifting. Like for instance in the Orochidopo workout, there's stone lifting for a period of time. I think also in there's a History Strongest Disciple workout, one of the masters has stone lifting in it. Basically what that means when I say stone lifting is it means that you pick up the rock in whatever way you can safely, for the listed number of reps or time. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just a deadlift or whatever it is. If it's a smaller rock, you'll be able to lift a little better. If it's a bigger rock, you'll only be able to lift it a certain height. So I'm going to give you some examples of what that might look like depending on the size of the stone that you have, and just to give you an idea of how you ought to lift those awkward objects, specifically stones today. But I'm going to do it from a couple different angles, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about what we went over. If you're lifting a small rock, you want to try to focus on explosive movements. You can see I'm doing what's called a ground to overhead here. I'm just trying to get the weight over my head. If you're not going to do an explosive movement, you can try to focus on moving a little slower. So you really want to control the rock, try to grab it in different ways and pick it up over your head. But you got to be really careful about balance because you don't want to accidentally drop it on your head. So you can see I'm really trying to manipulate it with just a single hand. And then I've got a little bit of a curl. You can see the balance stuff. And then press over my head, and there you go. With a bigger rock, it's a little bit different. You want to make sure that you are keeping your form good. You can see I just did a deadlift there. And I'm showing that you need to be closer to the rock rather than further away so that it's easier on your lower back. The closer you are to something that you're picking up, the easier it's going to be for you to pick it up. All right, now I'm getting that into a hug position. So that would be as if maybe you weren't able to get it all the way over your head, but you were able to pick it up enough to get it into that bear hug position. You can also shoulder the weight or get it into a clean and press position. At the very beginning of your stone lift training, if your rock is too big, you may not be able to really pick it up at all. So you may have an instance where you're just trying to focus on doing the form properly. So that means that you need to make sure that your back is not rounded. And finally, when you're able to, you're going to deadlift it. Use that explosiveness to get it to your chest. Try to move it to your shoulder or just high chest and then press overhead. So you can see there's a lot of different ways to do the stone lifts. Like I showed you guys, smaller rock, you can do, you want to try to focus on either explosive movements. We're going to focus on trying to move slowly and trying to manipulate that rock with a single hand, because it's going to make you work a little harder for it because you really got to grip it and you got to control the balance portion of it. If you get a bigger rock, you try to do the best you can with it, maintain proper form. If you can do a half deadlift, get it all the way up into a deadlift. If you can get it to a deadlift and then do a hang clean, or just hug it, clean and press, whatever you can get it to, the highest point that you can get it to for that exercise. Just make sure that you're always being careful. You're not trying to do things when you're too tired, and that you're always using proper form, because you do not want to drop that rock on your head, because that will be a bad day. A lot of stone lifting, you should probably make sleeves or get some stone lifting sleeves. I'm not, because that stone's really not that bad. But if you're picking up a stone that has a lot of edges on it, you definitely need to make sure that you've got some sleeves at least, just to protect your skin. Remember when I said that you guys should make sleeves, and then I was like, oh, I don't really worry about mine rock because it's not that sharp. Yeah, I was wrong. I should have got sleeves. When you're doing the stone lifting, you'll be able to see how much you're improving on the big rock based on how high you can get it. Because at the very beginning, you may only be able to like flip the rock. And then after a little while of doing flipping the rock, you may be able to pick up deadlift the rock to, say, you know, mid shin. Then after a while, you know, of training, you may be able to deadlift the rock all the way. And then once you get to that point, you've been able to practice enough at the deadlift, you may be able to, you know, deadlift it, then squat down and pull it up into a hug. It's really just, you'll be able to gauge how much better you are at the lift by how high you can get the rock. All right, guys, thanks very much for hanging out with this one. If you like this style of video, let me know. You can kind of see me doing some of the training and breaking it down. You know, as Sensei's Journey, like I said, they're a little bit more informal, so and we use them a lot to reference in real anime training workouts. So yeah, leave your comments below to let me know what kind of training from our real anime training workouts that you may have some questions about that we can dive into a little deeper, and then use those to do as references for another real anime training video that we do. All right, thank you guys very much. Until next time, good luck and train hard.